Good evening and welcome to Legacy After the Locker Room. I'm your host, Kayla Bradham, here tonight with NFL alumni Ryan Yarborough. Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening, Kayla. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us because
Mhm.
this is a very important point that we're going to talk about tonight. Believing in yourself
Absolutely.
so that you can achieve.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
let's
hmm
take let's take it back to the starting point because that didn't come from nowhere. There was a story that led you to this. Tell us the story of Ryan as a little boy playing sports.
I'm taking way, way back. Wait a minute. Hold up. That's a long time ago. But yes, nevertheless, um, I got the concept of the book from the simple fact of it was one of my favorite books that I used to read, and it was called The Little Engine That Could. And I wasn't obviously just like we all weren't the same person that we were as a child as we are now. We still have some of our same habits and same thought processes, but we're not the same person. So what it came down to as a young kid, I'm the oldest of seven. Let's put it out there first. I'm the oldest of seven, but in the streets, I was always the youngest. And what would happen was sometimes I wouldn't get picked, so I'll come home crying to dad, blah, 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 blah. And, he was like, hey, man, you can't cry if you don't get picked. You can't cry if something doesn't go your way. You have to deal with it. And one way or another. And that's what I learned how to do. Learn how to deal with situations. I learned how to become more positive as well because I could not come home talking about anything on a negative basis repeatedly, put it that particular way. Life is what it is, however you look at it. But when it comes down to it, if I came home with the same attitude and I came home moping or being negative, I would get reprimanded real quick. Okay. So I had to learn that not to come in the house with that. And also, I had to learn that, hey, you're playing with guys that are way older than you. And I don't just mean 1 year or 2 years. I can be out on the basketball court, the baseball field, or the football field around the house with guys 5, 6 years older than me. And as a boy, and teenagers, that's a big difference, okay, a major difference. But to answer your question, that's where it came from for the simple fact that I had to always believe in myself because if I came home with an attitude, I came home mad, I would get sent right back out the house and told to come home with a different attitude. So
So,
that's where all that comes from.
right, I just got to tell you what you said resonated with me. I think I have 8 kids.
Oh yeah, oh
My kids,
yeah.
my kids learned right away. You don't tell mom you're bored, she's gonna make you clean. Don't be mean to your brothers and sisters, she's gonna go make you stand on the porch and cool off, right? It's like you have a bunch of kids, you just don't have time for that. And the
Yeah,
quicker that they learn that
yeah,
we're a family and we work together, it's
yes,
just better for them. It's better for them. That's the advantage of
yes,
big families, right? Moms
absolutely.
don't have no patience when there's a big
Hey,
family
hey,
for
none of
nonsense.
that. And I want to commend you for your 8 children because I could
Thank
only
you.
imagine. I could only
Thank you.
imagine.
Blessings. My
Yes.
house is loud. It can get messy really fast. It can get
Oh,
clean real fast.
oh yeah. I love it.
I love it. So I again, what you said resonated with me, and I think that maybe that was one of the driving forces that made you so
Mhm,
good in college. And I
mhm.
think everybody remembers how great you were as a wide receiver in college. You want to just touch
Uh-huh.
on that a little bit, your college experience?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm gonna touch on it before that because I'm not gonna say I barely got into college, but it was very fortunate that I got into college because I really didn't play. I played football my sixth grade year, and then I didn't play again to the last 3 games of my sophomore season because I went out for the team late. And then my junior year, I'll never forget the medical term. I dislocated my clavicle, my left clavicle. So I was walking around school with a brace like this for 8 weeks, and I only had played in the first game. So my high school resume wasn't that extensive, but I was fortunate to be in a class. My class was very good in athletics all year round. So the scouts came in and out of the doors at all time. But my senior year, I did what I needed to do. And after that, the rest was history, going to Wyoming. Once again, like you have 8, we didn't have 8 in the house at the same time. But like I said, I'm the oldest of 7. And I wanted to get out of the house just for the simple fact of being in the Chicago area, in the Chicagoland area during the heyday of the crack era. I wanted to get as far away as possible from home so I can focus on what I needed to do. Fortunately, the University of Wyoming had an offense that was conducive to exploit my talents. And that's why I went to the University of Wyoming. We had a pipeline with Chicago as well. So it was some guys that I already had knew that were up there and that were going up there. Actually, me and my initial roommate, we went up there together. So that's how I got to Wyoming. And from there, everything took care of itself. Was it easy? No, by any means. Okay. But was all said and done, just like now, just looking at how college athletics are now. Kids are like on their 4th school. Some guys on their 5th school before they even graduate. And it's like, I wish, I'm not even going to say I wish I could. I'm going to take that back. I'm glad that I had to stick in there and go through what I had to go through to get to the next level, because once you start bouncing schools and not staying committed and staying on track, then then you can very easily be susceptible to blame stuff on other people and other things, and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So with all of that being said, that's what led me to the University of Wyoming. And once I got there, there's so many stories that go into me being at Wyoming and being able to get to the next level. But yes, I enjoyed my time. Great fans, great people, still to this day, very supportive. It's still called Yarbrough country. Okay. After 30, what's this? This 2022. Yeah. After 30 years, still called Yarbrough country, because we did that in 92 as a campaign. So yeah, that's that.
I love what you said, especially when it comes to the transfer portal. Of course, I think there's a time and a place for a student to transfer.
Mm-hmm.
You have a
Absolutely.
sick parent, things are just not working. I get that,
Mm-hmm.
but
Absolutely.
in general, I think the best advice we can give young people, if they want to, especially if they want to get NIL deals, is
Mm-hmm.
the college that recruits you, do everything you can to show them that you're loyal and committed, because that's what the NFL is going to be looking for at the draft.
Yep.
You want loyal and committed players. Now, we know that the business of the NFL is certainly business, and if
Yeah,
they can
that's
find
something.
someone cheaper than you, they will.
Yeah.
But to get drafted, it does require a certain perception of loyalty and teamwork and commitment. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that you share that, because I think it gets lost on a lot of people. Like, well, I'll just transfer. And it sort of becomes this trump card. And I
Yeah.
think that's a dangerous game.
And it is absolutely, because once again, the young men and young women as well, you're 18 to 21. Okay. That particular age bracket, 18 to 22. And, you don't know any better. You haven't lived life. You don't have 8 children. Okay. I have 4 myself personally, but it's like, you don't have children. You haven't lived life. And I'm not going to say all of them don't, because some of them do. So let me take that back. But as far as learning a lesson, to stick in there, besides what you said, somebody's sick at home, taking care of somebody. Yeah, there are always circumstances that that can let you get out of your situation. But the NFL, and not just the NFL, just people that you want to get into business with, they're going to go back and they're going to look and they're going to ask, why did you go to 4 different schools? Okay. And it's always going to have to be a backstory behind that. But I'm all for the NIL because when I was in college, I know what I went through being 16 hours away from home and being the oldest. Once again, I couldn't call home and ask for money. I had to stick it out. So I'm all for it. I've always thought that college players should be paid some certain type of amount. Okay. Maybe not millions or anything like that, because by the time you're 22, 23 years old, you can be burnt out, and hit your peak already, just because people want to use you as a focal point for their particular interests.
So I have to put in a shameless plug here because we're
Plug
talking about
it.
NIL. I have to do it. Quick announcement, and first of all, thank you to our Legacy After the Locker Room podcast community. So blessed for everybody who listens every week. Happy, proud, excited to announce next week we'll be recording this podcast with Lifford Hobley on location in Atlanta as Sports Philanthropy Network attends the NIL Summit and the Black in Sports Summit powered by ESPN. So 2 things that are near and dear to our heart. Folks know that we'll be there in Atlanta promoting those things, among others, women and girls in sports. You name it, we're going to be there. So next week, Lifford Hobley, live from Atlanta.
Awesome. That's awesome.
That's great. Ryan,
yes,
you led me right into that. So thank you. That was all you. You didn't even know.
I won't tell anybody. I don't tell anybody that we already had it already plugged out.
So let's tell people this.
Mm-hmm.
4 years in the NFL.
Yes.
New York Jets.
Yes.
Little stint with the Packers.
Yes.
Baltimore Ravens.
Yes.
You got me on Packers. Everybody knows that. Right?
Hey, and little do people know, that's my team, and it's been my team for some years. I'm always green for the money and gold for the honey. Okay, even though I grew up in Chicago, I'm not a Bears fan. Okay,
love it,
yes.
Love it.
Yes.
I'm getting a lot of likes coming across my screen. I love it. So when you were with those 3 teams, Ryan, and I don't want to spend a lot of time focusing on this because what you just talked about, the strategy behind the transfer portal and people leaving, I'm sure that's the same strategy that you're using in business. That's what I want to talk about, but I got to ask, of those 3 NFL teams, best coach that you had there?
Oh, that's easy. I can't say a head coach, but I'll say my receiver coach, by the name of Richard Mann. He is like a father to me. Just put it that particular way. My family, the Yarbroughs, originates from Pittsburgh. He was from Aliquippa, which is right by Pittsburgh. So we had a lot of good heart-to-heart conversations. And once again, as I said, and it wasn't because he was the easiest guy to get along with either. We didn't have a problem getting along, but he got the best out of me. And we still talk to this day. So his birthday was 4/20. Mine is 4/26. So we always hit each other on our birthday. So that's easy. Richard Mann. With 2 N's.
Love it. All right. Coach Mann, I hope you're hearing those accolades. What an honor. Yes. I just think it's got to be so great when you're a coach and you hear somebody at that high level saying, Coach, you're the man.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for that. All right. So if you don't mind, Ryan, I'm going to take just a quick break to shout out our sponsor. And then if it's okay with you, I'd like to talk about your book, where it stemmed from, and how that sort of ties into strategic business planning. Because I know there's a lot of people right now who's seeing a couple of bubbles and they're saying, man, I need a hustle.
Yeah.
How am I going to create this hustle for myself for this
Yes.
recession that's probably coming?
Yes.
We've got this strategy, and it comes from belief, right? So,
Absolutely.
folks, I want to take just a second and thank our sponsor, Dugout Mugs. Baseball season's here. Get your favorite mug at Dugout Mugs. Use code Kayla30 to save 30%. Ryan,
Yes.
the book, tell us what inspired you to write it.
Well, what inspired me to write? I wrote it in 2019. And personally, I just was going through a transition in life. And that's what it came down to. I've always had that belief system. Once again, like the majority, I would have to say like 90%, 95% of athletes, not just professional athletes, they may doubt themselves at times for whatever particular reason. And people may not know that. But in order to get to the top level, or in order to get to whatever level that you're trying to get to, let's put it that particular way, you have to believe, you have to believe in yourself. And when I wrote the book, I just seen so many things going on in my life, surrounding my life. And I had to look myself in the mirror for the simple fact that I always knew that things just don't necessarily happen for a reason. Some things do. I'll give it that. Some things do. But when you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm the reason why this particular thing is happening. I'm the reason why those things happen. Not taking the glory or anything like that, but also being able to accept when things don't go right and being able to admit that you are the reason that these particular things did not go right. Okay. And that's where I was at in my life at that particular time. And I've always been out in the community. I've always been a mentor. I've always been a coach, so on and so forth. But I was like, I want to put something down on paper. And I don't necessarily want it to be an autobiography right now because I'm still living. Okay. And I still have a lot of more life to live. Like I said, my birthday was at the end of April. I just made 51 and I plan on living another 51 years at least. Okay. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to put something down on paper in order to help others believe in themselves. Because when it's all said and done, if you're not believing in yourself, who and what can you believe in? Okay. You can believe in somebody else's mission. You can believe in somebody else's agenda. But when it's all said and done, you're not going to be able to move ahead and make progress in life if you don't believe in yourself. And if the people that are surrounding you don't necessarily believe in you believing in yourself, then you have to look at who you're surrounding yourself with as well. But before I get long-winded or anything like that, that's what made me want to write a book uh, about inspirational and motivational things, because I know that's what I was put on this planet and put in this universe to do.
So, three quick things on that. Number one, if it's your vision, it's your mission. I'm going to say that one more time for everybody listening. If it's your vision, it's your mission. You were created with a purpose. If you have been given a vision, it's up to you to go and achieve it. Number two, I love what you said. I've dedicated my entire life, Ryan, to creating hope and possibility. And
Yes.
from a business standpoint, my life has become so much easier when I just said, my mission is to create hope and possibility. When people come to me with business offers, I can look at it real quick and say, does this create hope and possibility? Yes or no? It's either on my radar or it's off my radar. It's that quick. It's that easy. Find a litmus, put up a wall, a boundary. It's either this or it's that.
Yeah.
Life is so much easier. And number three, thank you. This podcast is called Legacy After the Locker Room. You're working hard creating that legacy today. So those 4 kids and those grandkids and great grandkids and the lineage on and on
Yeah.
see the motivation and the inspiration of a great man who did great things. So, Ryan, I just want to say, like, first of all, thank you,
Yeah.
because I don't think people always realize that what they're doing now, they're doing for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 generations from now. When it comes to saving
Mm-hmm.
money, you're not saving money for yourself, you're saving
No.
money for your kids, your grandkids, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say thank you. What is the from your standpoint, what is the biggest piece of advice that you give in the book? I want people to order it and I want them to read the book, but
Uh-huh.
what's the biggest piece of advice you give?
Well, first, before I give any advice, I want to thank you as well for having me on your platform. Okay, as far as legacy after the locker room goes, because I don't just jump on any podcast. I have to feel something organically as yourself, and in order to be able to talk how I want to talk versus anything scripted. Okay, so I want to thank you first and foremost. But as far as advice, the book is is 18 chapters, 18 principles. Okay. And each and every person takes something different out of it. But the advice that just the general advice that I will give as far as the book goes is for you to be able to sit down, and it's an easy read as well, because I want people from junior high school, or basically anybody that can read and that has some type of understanding on life, to be able to read it and to be able to understand it so they can go to whatever level they're at, even CEOs, businesses, whatever the case may be. But getting back to your original question, the advice that I would give is to read the book wholeheartedly, uh, be able to sit down and absorb it, because a lot of things, I didn't reinvent the wheel. Okay. A lot of things that I'm talking about are from the heart and things that help me to get to the top level of my profession. And it still helped me to progress in life today. Okay. Because one thing that I've always learned is only a fool knows everything. Okay. And as long as you're living, you're learning. Okay. We may have to relearn some things or unlearn some things when it goes to that. But advice for the book is read it, enjoy it, spread the love, spread the inspiration, spread the motivation. For the simple fact, if you cannot have all the knowledge to yourself. Now, will everyone apply it the same way? No. Once again, you could put down something on a piece of paper and there's 10 people in the room. Everybody is going to interpret it differently. Okay. That might be the cheat code. All right. But somebody is going to say, that's nothing right there. Or somebody else is going to realize, hey, I really am going to take heed to this. All right. And that's what my book comes down to, because it's something for any and everybody. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, male, female, in your 50s, in your 60s, in your teens, in your 20s. We're all at different points in our life. Okay. But that book applies to each and every one of us without question.
I love that. And I want to just reiterate something very important that you said. I spent 2 years, the 2 years during COVID, giving back to the city of Milwaukee by teaching high school language arts at a Milwaukee public choice school. And folks, parents listening, I had so many 9th through 12th graders say, Miss B, there's nothing good to read. You keep assigning me a book report every quarter, and I can't find a good book
Uh-huh.
that meets a standard, right?
Right.
And Ryan, when I would give my students books by professional athletes that would motivate and inspire them, they'd come to me every day, Miss B, Miss B.
Yeah.
You want to know what chapter 3 is talking about? That reminds me of this, and my dog, and my kitty, and my auntie, and my grandma, and
Yeah.
it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So, parents, invest in your child's mental health,
Yes.
mental wellness. Get them books that they're going to want to sit down and read over the summer that are going to mold them into the adults that you're praying for them to be, because what you give them to read matters. And if you can find a book that will get them off of video games, you're going to win.
Oh.
You're going to win. You have, Ryan, you have 4 kids. I have 8. We can talk about this as parents, right? Give your
Yes.
kids good books. And furthermore, just like you said, Ryan, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, whatever your age is, but also at the same time, representation matters.
Mm-hmm.
And as a minority myself, I would 100% recommend that your children are reading books by people who look like they do, so they can be inspired by people who look like them. Guys, get Ryan's book. You can go to the website. Look at that. Boom. It comes right up on the screen.
Hey.
www.ryanyarborough.com. Ryan's last name, if you're listening to the podcast and you're young and you don't remember the 90s, Ryan, you know I was right behind you. I graduated high school in 91, college in 94.
Yeah.
I was watching everything you did.
Yeah.
Folks, if you're young and you don't know how to spell Yarbrough, it's Yarborough. www.ryanyarborough.com for anybody listening to the podcast, not watching the live stream. Do recommend you watch the live stream. Go back to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and find it.
Yeah.
But if you're listening on your way to school, on your way to work, whatever it is over the summer, make sure you're getting that book. Ryan, they can get that book, I'm assuming, right on the website. Is that correct?
That is correct. Most definitely. Mm-hmm.
If they're under 18, can they get an autograph?
Yes, absolutely. And let me tell you this. let me tell you this too, Kayla. The most recent school that I finished at last week was a school for kids that had fell behind, and they had to catch up to graduate. And when it came to that, I went to see them a couple of times this year, and just to see them to be able to make that progress and to overcome what they had to overcome, because, you know, during I call it the pandemic. Okay. During these last couple of years, either the kids fell off really bad or they made a come up and, you know, shot up the ladder. But I understood. And as you're saying, I'm able to speak their language when it comes down to it. And they opened up to me. A lot of them opened up to me in a lot of ways. And I told them I was going to come back at least once a month and follow up with them. But when it's all said and done, they just graduated. So I wanted to give them applause for hanging in there and overcoming what they needed to do. Yeah. Snap it up for them. And they got a book. Each and every one of them got a book. And I personally autographed it. That's why, under 18, over 18, whatever, autograph, whatever, I autograph for them personally, because as I said, we have to step back in a couple of areas and get back to the basic communication with one another. Tell everybody how you feel. You know, I'm a bottom line person. Do I know how to beat around the bush? Yes, but I'm a bottom line person when it's all said and done. And in order to be able to take other steps in life as a people, we have to be able to start communicating with each other once again, excuse me, and telling each other what we like, what we don't like, how we like it, how we don't like it, and being able to come together and compromise or just meet each other halfway or at a certain point in order to move forward versus continuing, to make steps backwards.
Believe so that you can achieve. It's right there. It's right there. Ryan, we're just about out of time, but there's something else that's really important that we got to touch on.
Yes.
You do a lot of work in the community.
Yes.
Tell us what you're doing to give back and to create hope and possibility.
Yes. When they go to ryanyarborough.com, they're also going to see my foundation on there as well. It's Ryan Yarborough Foundation. I named it after myself for the simple fact that I take pride in what I do. Therefore, I'm not going to, can't please everybody, but I do put my whole heart and soul into my foundation and being able to help the youth so they can help the others behind them as well. So Go on there. You'll see Ryan Yarborough Foundation, mission statement, things I've been doing in the community, and so on.
I love it. Thank you so much for working hard to create hope and possibility. One more
Absolutely.
thing before we sign off. Ryan,
Go
I asked
Pack Go.
I know how you are about punctuality. I asked every guest on Legacy After the Locker Room to partner with me for my charity of choice. That's Special Olympics. Ryan, can we count on you for an autograph donation?
It's already said and it's already done.
Thank you. Thank you. We're just about out of time. I want to give you a minute to wrap things up. Thank the people that you need to thank and give your parting words of wisdom.
Well, the only person I want to thank right now is you for having me on here, as I said. Okay. I have plenty of people that go behind me and it's on my team. They help me get my book together. They help me get my foundation together and they help me just live life, period. So I'm grateful to all them. And I do not like to specify certain people all the time because I don't want to leave anyone out. I am a product of my community. I was a latchkey child, so my gratitude and my thankfulness goes beyond names and beyond memory and beyond reach. Okay, but words of wisdom that I want to leave behind is, besides believing in yourself in order to achieve, is love yourself enough that you can love others and receive love from others in order to continue to make this universe rotate round and round, because it's going to continue to rotate when we're not here, but we want it to rotate as peaceful as possible when we're gone.
That's great advice. Folks, we're here tonight with NFL alumni Ryan Yarborough. Can find him on his website, www.ryanyarborough.com. Make sure you check out his book, Believe So That You Can Achieve, and the Ryan Yarborough Foundation on the website. My name is Kayla Bradham, host of Legacy After the Locker Room, here tonight with Ryan to remind you, live your legacy. Thanks, Ryan.
Go, Kayla. Thank you.